Right? Yeah, session session 18.
No.
Yeah, really?
What's that?
Yeah.
We've gotten together 18 times?
Yeah.
Wow.
I actually don't know if I have a login here from. I don't know whether session 0 here is technically session 0. You know what I mean? Like, I might have marked that technically as session 1.
Session
When
0.
it stands up, it's 10
Sorry,
feet tall.
there it is again. So session 0 was on November 7th of last year. And we are, yes, I just posted session 17 last week. So this is session 18.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
This particular book doesn't go back. This particular book only goes back to session 9.
You're keeping a written record?
Yeah, this is my quarantine right here. Is all my game notes.
So occasionally when I see you scribbling, you're writing down stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a Snoopy.
Yeah. Oh, I love these things. I love them. I have one more as a backup because I only have one more sheet in this one.
That's awesome.
So I'm almost done.
Yeah, that brand.
Max's
The
favorite
best
hoodie.
stationery.
Max's favorite hoodie is the Snoopy hoodie that you, or is it Woodstock? I don't know. Anyway, lots of Peanuts stuff makes its way around the house.
Oh my God, when I live up there, you'll get so much more stuff because I'll have
Send it on.
constant access.
So right before I started recording, we were just discussing the nature of what it's like to be in a dungeon versus the other parts of the game and how the kind of high resolution, almost photorealistic dungeon map, what that does, how it makes how it interacts with your imagination, and also how time really slows down, and it really becomes a lot of times when you're in a tense combat situation moment to moment, which is very different than the kind of time scale that we've been dealing with. Well, we've had plenty of moment to moment stuff that happened elsewhere, but it's usually interspersed with longer, either kind of narrative shifts or interaction with characters, and the time scale has been much more flexible in other parts of the game. And that is by design. There's the basic 3 components of the game are being in the town, being in the wilderness, and being in the dungeon. And each one of those, the town time usually corresponds to days, weeks, and months. Wilderness is usually days. And then dungeon is minutes and seconds, and maybe some hours. You guys did spend the night in the dungeon. And anyway, that really is the different, you end up engaging with them in different ways, and that can feel really weird. If that kind of shifting of gears, it changes the way you think about stuff. Like Jan was talking about how being in a dungeon, immediately when you see the map and it's got a grid and whatnot, like immediately makes you think of in tactical terms, like how do I approach this that way, which is a much kind of, it's a lot different than most of the other gameplay that we've tackled here. So we were just talking about getting out of this dungeon, not only because maybe to return to the wilderness and a different rhythm, but also because Topias has 2 hit points left. And is not in great shape. So that was the conversation that was just starting to happen. Does anyone want to add anything to any of that or clarify anything like that?
I was just thinking that not only, Topias is still unconscious, right?
Yes.
And we're going to have to figure out how to get him out of there. And I also remember we tied up our beast of burden in our cart. And if we stayed much longer, there's always a chance that we may return to nothing. And it'd be nice having an injured person to have a cart.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that we left in the cart, like food and supplies.
In some ways, this delve really, it went different than what we anticipated it was going to be. We had planned to sneak in while the River King was out, steal his royal jewels or whatever, and beef it out of there. The fact that we came across the Pyko and the Sorcerer and the Magic Stone and the Spider Room and all that stuff. I think in fiction, we're totally justified in just like, okay, like we survived, we got some loot, let's get out of here. And then we can discuss whether we want to re-engage with the River King cave, or whether we, go someplace else.
Yeah.
So there you are. You ended up camping basically down here. We were on guard all night. We were in kept watch all night. Nothing happened during the night. It all went well. And in fact, I don't know if I think you guys did mark off whoever healed up stuff, right?
Yeah.
Those steps we did all that bookkeeping last time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, who knows if it's even morning, but enough time has passed where everybody except Weirin got some rest. And yes, so that's the plans. That's the plan to make, is like how to get Tapias out, and what would happen next.
I had a question.
Yeah.
Did Paiviki was hoping to spend the time to reconnect with her understanding of the magical spell Weave of Force?
Oh yeah.
If she is able to do that while in the cave.
I think that is totally reasonable. If part of your, everybody has a repast together and relaxes and gets a restful sleep, and I think somewhere in there's time to reconnect with the with that magic that's woven into Paiviki's mind. She just needs to recall it. I'm just looking up the Magic User Playbook.
It says, when you spend a few hours studying your spell book, you forget all memorized spells and memorize the number of spells equal to your level +1.
Okay, yep. Yeah, so I think that's no problem. You can,
Okay.
you have reconnected, you have brought Weave of Force back into your consciousness.
I was imagining she would kind of like try to recall what the lessons that Locke told her, where she was like sitting on the cliff looking out at the fog, and she was like, how do you do that inside of a cave? And trying to connect with the natural forces that are inside the cave, like the weight of the stone and the water moving around, and sort of like reach her consciousness out into it, and re-find that thread or that weave that's kind of moving through everything. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to say that when you do that, when you try to do that, doing it in this cave is, you find that it's impossible in this particular cavern because of the weird bubbling pits. So when it comes time, when you actually succeed, you do it outside of this. You can't, whenever you kind of close your eyes and try to reconnect with the natural world through this environment, the presence of these strange bubbling holes in the ground makes it impossible, and like disrupts the weave, right? You start to like pull those threads together, and then the threads are kind of torn apart, and then you realize that it's the presence of these things that's making that happen. So
wow,
you end up having to actually leave this particular cavern in order to accomplish that.
Okay, that's interesting knowledge.
Now, when you do that, would you take like a light source with you? Would you kind of go off into the dark and find a quiet spot, or is it scary enough down here where you'd want light with you, or would you try to commune with that stuff in total darkness?
I think she's a little bit concerned about, well, maybe she, I think she's a little bit concerned about that creature that casts a shadow when there's light around. But yeah, she would probably bring, she has a bunch of candles. I think she would probably burn a candle.
Perfect. That's perfect. Just mark a duration on those candles there.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And also, I recall that the first use of Weave of Force involved fire, so there may even be a connection there between Paiviki's first successful kind of
Yeah.
altering of the physical world had to do with fire. So
Right.
the candles may also be like a great point of meditation there.
Right.
Yeah. Great. So you go off and do that, and then nothing untoward happens, and you are once again connected to the great weave.
Right.
And I think in the morning, the word. Let's see. I'm just gonna review real quick. Poor Tapias's state. We know that he was unconscious. Oh, you're unconscious until you heal up to half your total HP, and his HP is 6. Yeah, so he's still out cold. That next, whatever, when you guys wake up. And you are ready to move again. You've got the, so there is, I guess there is a little bit of there's a couple of practical issues, like how are you going to get the piece out? And John, I know you kept track of, you wrote down, I think, all the treasure that you found. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
No. we did it at the very end of the session.
Yeah, I got it here. So I'm just I'm making a quick look to see if any of it's hard to carry. Most of it's relatively small. There is the biggest, bulkiest thing, the things you can't just easily fit into your backpack are these bundles of furs. There are 12 of them in all, and each bundle weighs 1 weight. So if you were going to, everything else is basically jewelry and gems. Those can easily be kind of pocketed or put in your backpacks, but it's whether or not you want to take any of these fur bundles with you.
Let's take a look at our PC records. We can definitely bring them on the cart.
Yeah.
Another question. Can I bring, I want to bring my broken spear with me if that's possible.
Sure.
But I could try to make a new shaft for it.
Like, do you mean you're going to take it with you out of the cave? Is that what you mean? Yeah, sure, yeah, absolutely.
I just want to try to repair it.
Great. You are a carpenter after all, so
yeah, I figured do it.
Not be hard at all. Yeah, once you get to once you find some wood. Yeah. So as far as capacity goes, I know that Taimi's a little over capacity. Is that right?
No, I'm a little under.
Oh, sorry.
I'm at 9.
9 versus 11. Got it.
Yeah. So I definitely could take. You said there's 12 furs total.
Yeah, I mean, if you split it, and Annika can carry some too. So if each person took 3 furs, that would be 3 weight each.
Yeah, I mean, it would put me a little over, which would put me at a -1. But
yeah,
me too. We could just carry the furs and then drop them if we get into trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that you probably it's pretty easy to like take. They are in these little bundles, so you can make use of the. Whatever it is, like the thongs or whatever that are used to bundle these things, you can turn each one into a bundle of 3 and then sling those like over your shoulder basically, or attach them to your backpack, and yeah, so they'll burden you, but then you can just throw off your backpack when the time comes if you need to. Okay, great. Then I think you can carry everything out. We won't worry about who's got what. That could, in theory, be important if something happened, but when that time comes, we'll, I don't know, we'll make some luck rolls or something to figure that out. We don't have to worry about the specifics of that at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to take out all the treasure.
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
And you do know, you remember how you came in. It's not that complicated. You spent enough time in these caves now. You remember which way you came. And the distance to the exit is actually, on your way in, you was quite slow because you were kind of exploring and being very cautious. On the way out, it's not gonna take you very long to get outside.
Before we go, Paiviki, I just can't stand it that foul creature got away from us. I mean, it's probably cowering in some dark crevasse up that passageway. I just wish that there was something we could do here to spoil him. Is there anything? Do you think there's anything here that he's deriving power from? I only know of magic what I've seen, and even that is hard to believe.
Well, we cracked that stone at the center of this chamber. I think that there is something here in these pits. Perhaps some power is derived from these bubbling pits, or the chamber with all of the skulls. This is very important to them, all these heads in this room. And I find it curious that right before we arrived, there was a body that was brought with a head on it, and left there, while all the other bodies had their heads removed.
Hmm.
And it made me wonder if the room had some sort of purpose, and that if it was close to being fulfilled.
Wasn't there runes on the ground, Jason?
In the rock room, yeah, there was all of the writing on the walls and stuff appears to be done with like powdered lime mixed with water, so it looks like chalk almost. Yeah, there were all kinds of markings all around the floor, in the room where the big magnetic rock was. Yeah, and then the walls of that room all the way up to the top were lined with skulls too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do we want to just like trash this room? Just like make like a rock band in a Holiday Inn and just
Smash all the skulls.
Yeah, I mean, smash the skulls. If it's writing on the wall that we could just like use either our water skin or like even scoop up what's in the pit. Let's like if that is that pit that we're in through the
creature, yeah.
Pico through the Pico into. Is it still smoking red?
No, that was just very briefly after the creature. Generally speaking, the smoke that comes up is kind of bluish, purple, black. Like the colors kind of shift from the light coming up from this bubbling. I don't even know what you call it. It's almost like it looks like the consistency of tar, but it's actually kind of brightly colored. And the smell is kind of indescribable. It's like a whole bunch of, it's like smells you can't even recognize, like very strange smells, which you don't smell when you're not right next to it. So you guys could camp nearby and not really smell what was coming up, but when you get up close to it, you can just smell this. It's definitely it's a disturbing smell.
Is the gas glowing or the tar glowing?
The tar is giving off some kind of light that is illuminating the smoke that comes out.
What did it do to the body? Can we even see the Pico in that pit?
I think maybe if you'd looked in right after it happened, but at this point it looks just like all the other pits. So nobody really kind of investigated at that moment because action was going down.
Yeah.
but the things did sort of turn red there.
We must have a dozen of those in these room. I take
okay.
one.
You want to see?
I take one and I throw it in.
Okay, so a little tiny.
This is probably the height of science, right?
Yeah, totally. What happens when? Okay, so you drag one of these pale-skinned creatures over, and does anybody object to this? Does anybody think? No, everybody's just watching. Okay.
Well, I'll stand far away from it.
You'll stand far away. Yeah. Okay. Keep your distance. The Timey hauls it over and drops it in, so it falls down like 4 feet, and you're watching, and it when it hits, there's like the tar like liquid it reacts, and it reacts strongly, and what it looks to you like is a sudden series of tiny little hands, like flowing. The tar kind of flows up and around, and it's like hundreds. They're not actual hands, but it has the appearance of hundreds of little hands reaching up and kind of scrabbling across and grabbing it, and sort of pulling it under. And as it does that, you see the flesh and the distorted and twisted, and there's a point where the actual head of the creature completely sort of changes shape. And you see that the skin,
Paiviki!
I'm coming over to check it out.
Okay, so you run over, look down, and when you guys look down, your eyes are to like look through the smoke. Your eyes are watering, and it's kind of hard to see through. But so this nightmarish image that you're seeing is partly obscured by this smoke that you're looking through, which has changed color and smell with the consumption of the creature. Yeah, and so Paiviki comes over just in time to see that the creature's head has been sort of distended. So, and Taimi, you know, as a hunter, like that its actual skull is being stretched like rubber somehow. And this, like the skin stretches and breaks, and you see the bone underneath. Sorry, I don't want to get too graphic here, but like, it's just like this weird, crazy, almost like turn to rubber. And then like, Taimi, your association is with lichen in the forest, the way lichen will kind of grow on a tree or a fungus in the forest. These strange splotches kind of grow out of its actual flesh. You just get a glimpse of like the flesh actually kind of having these bursts, these like almost floral bursts of lichen-like shapes, and then it's consumed. So, I mean, to summarize,
I've never seen anything like that. That seems more like a creature than an inanimate pit of goo.
I wonder, it doesn't seem like a coincidence that the River King lives here or nearby. Perhaps this is where the River King came from.
That he might be a creature of magic, that there's something that lives in this place.
This kind of magic, it seems, is unlike the magic that Locke taught me. I couldn't find any threads in this area. Perhaps it's from another world.
Do you think by putting the body in there that we fed it?
Perhaps. Yes. Let's get out of here.
I still want to fuck up the room.
Uh-huh. Yes, I'm wondering, I am having my memories from the other cave that we were in, and the sorcerer there with his runes on the ground, or his patterns on the ground. I wonder if there is any relationship, or if that's just what sorcerers in caves do.
I can't not recall whether we figured out what our takeaway was of what those runes were.
The other.
Oh, was it in the? Did we read about them in the diary?
Yes, I think he was, that sad sorcerer was talking about summoning something. He was going to use a demon, Kele Asisa, to go after his uncle.
I guess we didn't even. I know that Taimi's memory is not good enough to like register whether those runes are the same.
They're yeah, Paiviki can tell you they're very different.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in Paiviki's assessment based on what little is known. And Locke, and you did talk to Locke a little bit about what that sorcerer might have been up to. Just in terms of the kinds of marks they are, it was very different. These are kind of more, you know, kind of overall more crudely made. A lot of the other stuff was like carved in stone and was quite involved. These are more, they seem to have been made not quickly, but they're just coarser strokes and different symbols entirely, different kinds of markings.
Yeah, this place is full of mysteries, and I'm curious about so many of them. But I'm concerned that if we delve too much farther, that we'll encounter something else and we won't make it out of here.
Yeah, Taimi purses her lips and nods.
Moirin, what would you do?
I agree that it's best to think about how to get Topias out of here alive, and us too. Although I support Taimi wanting to do a little bit of destroying.
A little vandalism.
Light vandalism.
The symbolism that is, I understand.
Is there I remember we had talked about not moving Topias, and if he's unconscious still, did he regain a hit point over the night?
Yeah, we that brought him up to 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we need to maybe wait longer for him to become conscious?
Does anybody have any bandages or herbs and poultices left?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so 1 bandage would be all you need to expend to bring him back to conscious. Let me just wrap this. Oh, if he heals 1 more hit point, he'll be back up. So that would be either you spend another, day of rest in this place, or you use some healing stuff.
Yeah. Let's tend to him and wait for him to see if he recovers any. Okay.
Great. Then everybody whoever wants to mark a bandage should mark a bandage. And all light sources mark off a duration.
We had made a fire. We talked about making a fire using those pieces of wood in the corner.
Oh, the lattice, right? Yeah. Well, after a full night of rest, that's pretty much ash.
Yeah. Okay.
So
we should light something.
Yeah.
I'll light a torch.
Or, I guess you could just do things by the light of these pits. I guess if you wanted to really conserve, then that would be something you could do.
Well, we need to have a torch to get out of here too.
Yeah. Okay.
So who's got bandages? Does somebody?
I just have the urban poultices, but I can give that up. That would give him a 1d4.
Yeah,
right?
let's do that.
Okay, great. Then Donna, would you roll a d4, please?
4.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay, so after a couple of hours of a kind of careful care, and is Muirin actually tending to Tobias? Is Muirin the main caregiver here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she'll take.
There's a point where he stirs, and then you help him sit up and give him a swig from your water skin, and he like grabs it from your hand and goes, and then he like grabs onto the wall and like hauls himself up to his feet, and looks around and says like, where are they? And at this point, so this whole area of his body, you've actually had to go in there and clean the injury, and so this whole area is all bandaged up to the point where his arm is kind of, you kind of immobilized his arm next to his body, so it's not doesn't injure himself further. So anyway, yeah, he hauls himself up on his feet, and he's like, awake and alert and like wondering what happened.
Dead. They're dead. Save. Yeah, Taimi's not going to pull the punches. She's not going to lie to him. Save for the sorcerer who ran like a coward.
And of course, you went after him. Or it.
The foul beast went where we could not follow. So we had to just set up a defensible position and wait it out. We're happy to see you awake, Topias.
I was in the Motherwood. I was among the bushes and the grass in a sunlit clearing. The place where we left Haivama last year. And there were spring flowers and birds. And now I'm back in this cold, hellish place.
We're heading back there now, Topias. Soon we'll be home again.
Good. They will be happy to see us. My parents will be happy.
Oh, that would have been a tough conversation.
So he asks about the treasure, and his eyes grow wide when the shiny things are shown to him. Annika like claps him gently on the back, and he's ready to go. His legs are totally fine. He just has to be careful of this whole part of his body. So he can't really. I guess he could carry like a pack on one shoulder, and he can maybe have his hatchet with him, but he definitely can't use a shield or anything else. And let's see, it was his shield arm that got pulled. So I'm sorry, it's his left arm, not his right arm. So yeah, he can use a hatchet, no problem. But he's got this drawback, the injury.
I'll take the shield.
Okay.
I'm encumbered by the load. Is anybody else just as a?
Yeah.
Okay. Muirin?
I think I can carry, because your load is your strength plus.
For a thief, what is it for a thief? It's like your strength modifier plus 6 or something like that.
Okay.
I can check.
Okay, I can carry more. Because I'm currently at 3.
Oh, yeah,
So-
yeah, you got no problem. You're only carrying 3 weight?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not a problem for you.
Nice.
Cool. So I'm helping with the treasure or whatever.
Well, are you carrying the is 3 plus the 3 furs?
Uh-uh.
So what's your strength
First,
modifier,
like,
Donna? What's your strength modifier?
0.
Yeah, so
0.
you can carry 6 weight with no 6 weight total with no a drawback, and you can carry up to 12 from 7 to 12 weight. You'll just have -1 to your rolls while you're burdened. So as long as if you're 6 or under total, then you're totally fine. If you're over, then you can still do it, but you'll just get a disadvantage if something happens while you're burdened with a backpack.
Sure. Should I just mark that I'm carrying stuff?
It is 3 weight worth of furs.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Okay, so if nobody's gonna stop Taimi from cracking some
Smashing
skulls,
this place up, yeah. I mean, I'm going to take chunks of the stone that are small enough for me to carry. I'm going to throw those into the pit.
into one of these pits.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Huh.
yeah. I've never seen a liquid destroy bone before,
Okay.
or like turn bone, which I perceive as a hard material, into rubber, or like soften it up.
And Viki's like, hold on.
So you got like a piece, I don't know, like this big, and you're
Yeah.
you're striding towards the pit, and Vivek says,
Yeah, I've smashed the skulls. That's done.
Oh, and by the way, Annika is just right in there with you. Like, yeah, Annika's just getting out all of her aggression.
Yeah, taking skulls off, throwing them across, stamping on them.
So you come out with this piece of rock.
Yeah.
And say, Taimi, there's something in those pits that is a force that we don't know what it is. And this strange rock that caused you so much problems.
Yeah.
We also don't know what it is. And
I mean, you said it yourself. It caused me problems. It was an object of harm. So my thought was I would throw it in there and cause harm to whatever in there.
We don't know. Did you see how that Pyko was transformed?
Yeah. Like it softened him up. And I thought maybe that. So either like the stone would hurt the goo, or the goo would hurt the stone. That's the thought. Yeah.
Or together they might hurt us. Is my concern. So it's like if you take oil from a lamp and you throw it onto a fire and your face is too close.
Okay.
Good analogy, by Viki.
That's a great analogy. Yeah, you're speaking my language. Okay, that tracks. She's gonna just throw it over that cliff on the eastern part of the map. I know it doesn't go. It's not like a bottomless pit, but at least like it's separating a rock from the core. Yeah.
Okay.
I know that we've committed to not exploring any further. I do want to look behind that stone slab in the pit.
Okay.
I do too. Being curious. How do you feel about that, Mirren?
Certainly help you move it.
I mean, I wish we had like a hook so we could like hook that corner that's gone and then pull it from afar in case there's something on the other side that would flow out or burst out Jack in the Box style.
That room down below, the one with the spider, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're talking about. It had a depression with a mummified figure in it as well.
We should definitely throw that in the pit, right?
The mummified figure.
So, Jason, you mentioned that there was that these pieces of treasure looked like something from this Enin people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we'd heard of before, but who are they again?
As far as you know, villagers of Rayuna, they've only been referred to, I guess there's probably some old stories about how they walked this land long before your people. You have no evidence. I mean, Weirin knows more about the Enin than anybody else, and knows that there are ruins that are attributed to them in different parts of the land, and that there are none surviving as far as Weirin knows. They only kind of exist in legend, and Weirin doesn't know why they disappeared. But they did have a particular, very particular, obviously, culture. And the thing that's recognizably Enin about the treasure that you found was that this the sash that you guys found in that jeweled box, the box itself, the craftsmanship to Weirin's eye looked like of this ancient people, and then the decoration on the sash. And one of the things that is sort of renowned or spoken about is how bright the colors were on Enin clothing. Maybe they had some kinds of dye that nobody has access to anymore, or something like that. So anyway, these really, really bright colors and the style of the weaving of this sash is very clearly of these people. But to you guys, to Rayunans, you've heard of them, but only as like kind of a kind of ancient people who, to you, feel kind of very distant. They don't have any connection to your culture.
Okay.
Say the name of the people one more time.
The Enin, E-N-N-E-N. Which is just, it's just a word in your tongue, which means the ancient people. That's all it means. Who knows what they called themselves? Or, perhaps some scholars somewhere do know what they called themselves, but. Yeah, and this little depression, the depression in this room was clearly, it's a built-in kind of bowl-shaped depression. And the figure, it's not clear how the figure rested originally, but when you found it, the mummy had been sort of clearly moved and was missing an arm, which is nowhere to be found. And it's possible that some of the items that you have acquired came right off of its body. That certainly seems possible because it's been kind of messed up enough to indicate that it might have been things might have been taken from it. Yeah, so, and then this room, as I mentioned before, the thing that distinguishes it from the cave that you've been in is that it's actual stonework, like carved stones have been set, like all the walls are faced and the floor is covered with actual cut pieces of stone. And there's this little alcove, and the alcove ends in a stone slab, a single stone slab, and the upper right-hand corner of that slab is like a cracked section of it. I'm trying to think. A cracked section of it, which is not in this room. So whatever happened at the piece of stone that was knocked out or broken out or whatever, it must be on the far side. There's rubble all over this room. Maybe that's part of it. And the hole is probably, it's a sort of triangular hole that's maybe like a foot high. At its widest point is a foot high, and then it tapers down. So none of you could fit through it.
How thick?
The slab is about 18 inches thick, foot and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a massive piece of stone.
Paviki tries to peer over the top and look through that hole.
And using, so it's totally dark on the other side.
The dark.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that she would like to try using Weave of Force again.
Ooh, okay.
And take the sparks from the torch and send them on their way
Whoa.
into the room, and kind of make a little, if there's a room in there, just like move through the space so that it can be illuminated, and we can peek in and see what's in there.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so Paviki's tall enough for sure to, without any assistance, can like peer through this hole, head sort of right up against the ceiling of the alcove there. And this is from a candle or the torch you said?
I've got a torch lit.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. Go for it.
How much power? I wonder if there's any way to keep backup power to improve the roll, but I don't know how difficult of a spell this is.
Well, I guess it's not instant because that would just be a flash of light. So it's at least duration 1 to give you a full view, right? Is that fair?
Okay.
Like a flash of light would not really, it would be like a strobe went off and you'd have to absorb all that information, right? Okay. So it's duration 1. It's totally a parlor trick. You're just lighting up, you're sending some sparks away, totally a parlor trick. So that's, and the range is, so it's power 1 for range because you're sending it away from you to light this room up. It's power 1 for duration. How much power total do you have?
3.
And then area of effect, small area is actually, well, let's see, you're sending out the sparks themselves. I think it would take all 3 power to do what you're trying to do.
Yeah. It sometimes seems like either you do the range or you do the area, but you don't necessarily would both be necessary. But yeah,
no,
3.
you're right. No, you're totally right.
But still, if it's a small area and it's range touch, then it's still 3. 2 plus 1.
Right. No, but that's totally true because the range should be figured into the area. And actually, if you're like reaching through that thing, then it's one of, it's just, it's power 2. We'll say it's power 2.
Okay. All right. I'm going to roll.
With that extra plus 1.
Okay, so that is a 5 plus 3.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
So that's 8.
Yeah, so vacuity. The spell works as intended, but you forget it and may not cast it again until you memorize it.
Dang it.
It escapes you once again. Maybe it's being down in this dark cave away from the natural, the living things upstairs, up top or whatever. So you are holding.
Chad has a question.
Question.
Yeah.
Just a spell question. Are all spells assumed to be instantaneous? Like once whatever verbal or somatic thing is done, it's instantaneous?
Yes. That's current. You mean in terms of like to trigger the effect, how long it takes for the effect to take place?
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you ever consider a power bonus of the spell taking longer? Like a ritual, like if someone took 10 minutes to do a ritual, whether they could like get a bonus power?
There is an advanced move called Ritualist.
Uh-huh.
When you cast a spell, taking time to prepare, you take +1 to your casting roll. But certainly that to make that available, like without having to take an advanced move would be something to consider.
I just think that, like, you know, I think that it changed the application of Web of Force or Weave of Force, Web of Force.
Weave.
You know, I think it really changes in this scenario. You know, like he's using it for a different application. Anyway, I just thought about that.
Yeah. No, and I think that being able to take time, if at the cost of time to prepare and cast it, you got an advantage. You know, you got a bonus to actually do the casting. I think that's or more power, however it was going to occur. I think that's a great idea to think about for sure. And I'm making a note of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So describe for us. I'll describe the room, but describe for us what happens with those sparks of light.
Yeah. So I hold up the torch and I hold up my hand like this, and I look into the flame and see try to connect with the energy, the life force of the world that's going through it, and I pull apart the strands and call forth the words for motivating the fire to move. I say, "Go ahead, fire, you can do it." And the fire pulls itself and knows that it's time to move and heads out and starts kind of like walking across this the empty space and into the darkness.
Oh, great.
And I think it's weaving fire and darkness as a force as well.
Oh, cool.
Go off, venture forth into the darkness.
Oh, great. It's weaving the fire into the darkness.
And the sparks are the most willing to go. The fire sparks are like, yeah, all right.
But some fire actually does, like a little flamelet does leave the torch, or is it just?
Yeah, a little flame kind of heads off too. But as that flame heads off, then I'm like, no, whoa, ah. And then I totally forget how to do it.
I think the flame takes with it
the fire is just like on its own, like, okay, they're gone. Like, oh, I've lost it.
Okay, so you're peering into that room as it sort of moves off into the darkness. And you see the weave of the darkness in the fire. It looks like the fire actually goes out and then comes back. Like it's like the fire goes dark and then it reappears, right? So it's like this flickering as it moves through the darkness. Well, I need to remember, where am I? Eraser? Is this gonna work? Cannot use the eraser because is that gonna work? Yes, it's gonna work. Okay. All right, so you send out the fire and it goes through the crack in the door, which is right here. And from your perspective now, you can see it goes over to the corner. You can't really see it. And then it lights up this wall here. Okay. I think you can probably see this far in this direction. And so it gradually, dimly lights up this room before disappearing. And so what you're able to take in is it's a rubble-strewn room with similar stonework to the room that you're in. The opposite corners where these stones are, not shown on this map, there are actually two statues. There's a statue in each one of those corners, and the statues have been battered and beaten and vandalized to the point where like their limbs are gone and they just are the kind of vestige of whatever they were once. They're chipped and broken, and they're spatters of lime paint, like the same kind of white paint that you've seen elsewhere. Yeah, and then in the middle of the room is a set of there's an opening in the middle of the room and some stone stairs descend. So you're able to take in that much information before the flame disappears.
I describe that to them and I say, the Picos have been there. Either they have another way in or they could squeeze in through this hole.
Does that seem? I'm not even gonna ask. That does seem reasonable.
And Taimi's down there, right?
Yeah.
So when you examine the area where the hole is, it's very clear that there's all kinds of scratch marks around it that they've been, as a hunter, it's very obvious to you that yes, they use this hole to get in and out.
Yeah.
Perhaps they've already taken what was there.
Taimi's really grappling right now with like the age of what we're looking at. For someone whose life has been kind of dictated by like seasons and harvests and migrations and animals and like the life cycle of trees and everything, I think the big marker of time progressing has been the Colkeen, and that must have seemed like forever. And just the idea of a statue being around this long to have this much inflicted upon it is just like that once people were here, like I assume the statues are of like humanoids.
Yeah, they are. Yep.
Yeah. Like, it's just a real head scratcher, just a real mind effer.
I think also, you in the wizard's cave, the sorcerer's cave before, those were all basically natural caves, and somebody was like camped out in there, like you can imagine camping in the woods. But here, these rooms were built and they're underground, which is also probably for Taimi interesting proposition.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of subterranean construction in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, this is super fascinating. But if the Pico have been in and out of this room, I think you're right, Paiviki. I think that they've probably taken everything that they can of value to use in their traps and to keep on themselves. And any step further we take into the unfamiliar is going to be a step that puts Topias at greater risk. What do you two think?
I'm ready to see if we can make it out of here.
Yeah. I won't forget this place. Weirin?
Yeah, good call. And I'm impressed by that cool show of wizardry.
I have a question about the cool show of wizardry. I just remembered, or I see it written down on my piece of paper that we take +1 forwards.
Oh,
Should
yeah.
Should I take that still, or should I?
Absolutely. That was your first roll of the day.
Yeah.
Yes, so you don't forget the spell.
But that would cause a disturbance that draws unwanted attention.
Draws unwanted attention, yes. You don't necessarily know what that is, but I guess you automatically get the +1 because it applies to your first roll the next day. You don't get to choose where that happens.
Okay.
You didn't spend anything extra. You didn't spend any luck or anything, so that was just the way it goes.
No.
Okay, yeah, okay. So yes, you've drawn unwanted attention, but there's no sign of what that might be.
Sorry, guys.
We don't know.
But you don't forget the spell. The spell is not forgotten.
Okay. But you guys remember to take +1 if you have to roll something.
Yep.
shall we make our way? Or did you want to go farther, Taimi?
No, I as much as I stood up for Topias just yesterday, I just don't think he can go any further, and it's not fair to him to have him survive such a glorious battle, but then be destroyed in some freak accident or sneak attack.
Yeah.
We can always return here with our wits about us and prepare to face if the creature returns or to explore this place further. But for now, I think we should get out of here.
Okay.
Okay.
So should we say that we make our way, kind of retracing our steps back the way we came?
Yeah. Who would be... I think Taimi would be in the front because with my range... Well, but at the same time, Muirin can sense trouble. Yeah. I think it's Muirin and I at the front, and then Annika and Topias, and then Paiviki in the back.
Okay. I've got a torch. Sure.
Sure.
Paiviki in the back is what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, Muirin, Taimi, Annika, Topias. Okay, and Annika's like, yeah, Annika's right there ready to help Topias if he has any problem or stumbles or anything. Okay, and you guys are headed out. So everybody's children, the backpacks back on. We have whatever weapons out you feel like are necessary for this leg, and you make your way back through the caves that you've already traveled through. You get to this area over here where the cave goes down. It descends down, and you remember going down, and then initially you came in, went down, and you came back up onto this level. And wherein you have the distinct feeling that danger lies behind you, that something is stalking you just out of the edge of the torchlight.
Behind. I'll pause with the group.
Okay, so your hand
And
goes
then-
up, everybody stops, yeah.
I guess I want to feel if the thing stopped with us or...
So you hold up your hand, everybody stops. You turn and look back towards the end, and Annika is looking at you like, what's up? And you I think you're gonna have to walk back to where Paiviki is to have that sense. So you walk back there. Paiviki's got the torch, right? Paiviki's holding a torch.
Yeah.
And you stare off into the darkness, and you feel that, yes, whatever this presence was, is hanging back. It has stopped with you. So you're just staring off basically into the darkness of, you're like here looking this way, and the torch illuminates maybe that much, and it's all just pitch black beyond that. And somewhere out there, yes, something is there. And it's, all you hear is of the torch. Everybody's being really quiet. Maybe there's like a tweet, a drip of water somewhere, but you don't hear anything else.
I think I'll wonder aloud to Paibiki. Did you hear something? Can you?
I didn't. Perhaps we can illuminate the area.
With the that spell?
Yes, or perhaps we don't even need a spell. But I think she would try a spell again.
Okay.
It's crazy like that.
Yeah.
How about bright fog, since that's actually has like a brightness inherent in its name.
Okay.
And if it, I think just having it spread out, sort of into the chamber that we walk through and out kind of into the corners, kind of like pushing out a, I think just, yeah, like an illuminating cloud.
Like called up from the ground or spreading out from you? How would it appear?
I think, yeah, like gathering the moisture of the, from the cave, like a fog that way.
Great.
And having a glow of some sort.
Like filling up the space, or on the, like at ground level? Like if it's moisture from the cave, would it be like particles of moisture that were sort of everywhere and kind of?
I think it would kind of seep up from the ground, like in one of those old movies.
Like an old Hammer horror movie.
Yeah, the old graveyard scene.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
It's got a strange amount of light, because it's, even though it's dark, it's midnight or whatever. It's like somebody's there with like a big light.
Right. So you're gonna call it up from the stone.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's very similar to the last spell that you cast. So
it is.
Let's call it the same power cost.
Okay. This time I succeeded. I got an 11, or 8 plus 3.
Okay. And you roll a 1d6 for me.
I rolled a 1.
Okay. Okay. So you do that, and everybody, of course, is Taimi's got an eye towards the front, but is also looking, because it's very curious what's going on. And then you don't say any words when you cast these spells, right? You kind of.
I think she does, actually. I mean, I don't. I think saying the names, whether she's kind of whispering them or maybe at an appropriate moment she would shout them out loud, but
okay.
Not for a minor spell.
This is a quietly whispered. And then you hand wearing your torch, so using both hands, or can you do it one-handed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Can do it one-handed.
You can do one hand. Okay, great. So you whisper and gesture and reach out and find the dampness and there's this. It's very, very light shimmer at first, like just like a little faint glow along the floor, and then what color is the glow?
Oh, I think it's kind of a warm glow, since it's a bright fog.
Yeah.
Sort of like sunlight on a foggy day.
Okay. Great.
Can mean.
So it's this very faint shimmer that's almost like a trick of the eye at first, and then it grows to a glow, and then the mist fully illuminates, and dimly though, right? Or I guess it's a bright fog, but it's not like a sudden spotlight. It's just like this quick kind of heightening of brightness, and you hear a and caught essentially in the headlights. Right here, and then another one on the ceiling, actually, are two of the creatures. So you call that up, and they like are looking around like, and then they turn and scramble away into the darkness.
All right. They haven't forgotten us, and we had better get on our way.
That was good, quick thinking, Hibiki.
Okay, so continue on your way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of being caught unawares.
Sorry, trying to navigate my, okay. Well, I don't think, all right, sorry. I'm gonna start screen sharing. Okay, and so you make your way down that tunnel, and then you know this roar of water. If you recall, there was this ledge here where there was like water kind of pouring over and down into what appears to be some kind of underground river. At least that was Taimi's supposition when you passed it before. Around the corner, and then up this tunnel. And then you see the light of day, and you make your way back outside.
I mean, we stop before we go just out into the open.
Okay.
What time of day?
Oh, yeah. What time of day? Oh, right. So the light coming in, it's actually dusk.
Okay.
So it's and now we're in late spring. So, you know, you guys don't go by there's no clock that you go by. But by this, yeah, so the sky, relative to the darkness of the cave, which is pitch dark, the sky outside is like a dark blue, fading towards black.
I turn to the other two. Do you think the River King has returned? It would be awfully difficult if we encountered it on our way back to the wagon.
What time of day was it when we saw him before?
When you saw him,
Yeah.
well, from Taimi's scouting expedition, Taimi figured out that the River King leaves basically at dawn and returns at dusk.
Yeah.
So maybe we should wait until nightfall just to be sure that it's not going to like come up the river as we're just getting out.
Yes.
Okay, so wait inside the tunnel.
Yeah.
Torches out, I take it, because you don't want to draw attention that way. Torches extinguished, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, and actually, right after you extinguish the torch, you hear in the distance. And within probably half an hour, you hear. So there's the sound of the waterfall itself, which is somewhat loud, but then through that you hear the. And in the, it's a clear night, and looking out from your perspective, which is this tunnel right here, you're looking out that way. So you've got kind of an angle on the river. There's it's light enough and your eyes have adjusted enough that you see him kind of stride into view through the water. He's about knee deep in this river, and towering up from the surface of the water 20 or 25 feet above the surface of the water. And everybody's kind of hanging back and peering out, and he crosses your point of view. And so he's right at the right here, and he's slow, and you can see the light reflecting off the backs of the lizards that are swimming around him. He's got like an maybe 3 or 4 of these river lizards kind of in his vicinity. Mm-hmm. He turns around and just kind of lets out a long plaintive moan, like it kind of like lasts very long. And everybody's kind of looking at each other like, what? Then it finally fades away, and he steps up into this flowing water, and the water kind of flows, it rushes around his legs as he steps up, and then walks through the kind of the curtain of water that's falling down across the front of this opening here. And one of the lizards lurches up onto that ledge and follows him in, and the other 2 kind of disappear into the water of the river.
Well, obviously crossing in front of the waterfall like we did last time, we can't do that.
What does the river look like from the cliff, like downstream from here? Does it widen out, or is it about the same?
It does both. I mean, you can't really see that far at night, but you remember from the your previous passage through this area that there are areas where it gets a little narrow and areas where it gets wider. In any case, it would require some swimming.
Yeah. Is there any, like if we went up the cliff, would we be climbing through waterfalls?
Yes. This is one section of this huge cliff with all these waterfalls falling down it. So you could go up onto another ledge and try to make your way across, and you'd pass through from here to the edge of the shore that you entered from. There's probably 4 or 5 more kind of equivalent sections as what you see here.
And we walked right across that ledge, right? Yeah. With the waterfall. Is that what we did?
Yeah, you came this way like that.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, we could spend the night with the sorcerer, or we could try to figure out a way to get across the.
Annika says, "Well, we should go now. He's home. He's back home. While he's between now and dawn, he'll be in there. And so this is our, maybe we wait a little while before we cross, but this is our chance."
Maybe says, "Do you think that the River King sleeps at night?"
To Annika.
Yeah.
I don't know. And she feels a little, she seems a little sheepish.
It would be natural for a creature to fall asleep at night, but that creature might not be natural. Regardless, my caution has less to do with the River King than those creatures that follow it. I can't ascertain where when one went into the waterfall, seemed to follow it closely. The other two, I think, might be in this bay area or this river area.
Mirren, you have a good feeling about these things. Do you think it's safe?
Yeah, I'll maybe sort of look towards where the creatures disappeared to, and then see if they're far away.
You will have to climb down off this ledge and go over basically here to get any kind of sense about what's going on in here. You'll have to get closer to it.
Okay.
Right.
And then how far
right now, you're not. You're definitely not in any danger right now. But to get some sense, you'd have to get over in this area. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yep. How close do I have to get to sense if the River King is paying attention to his entrance?
Right up to the entrance. I mean, depending,
Okay.
you don't know how far in he went. Yeah. So if he's anywhere near the entrance, if you got around here, you'd be able to figure that out.
Sense that, yeah. Well, I could go further out into the shore.
You want to do a little scouting mission and then come back and report?
Yeah, do you guys mind waiting?
No, of course not.
Okay. So Mirren's going to go out there, and I think this is a fine answers with your danger sense. I think this is to get some specifics here.
Cool. Cool.
And that would be wisdom, because you're using your senses. You're trying to sense the presence of these things.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to take +1 forward to my first roll.
There we go. Yeah, the day's almost over. You better.
And then +1 wisdom, so I have 8.
You rolled an 8?
Total is an 8, yeah.
Okay. It says the judge's answer is cryptic or incomplete, but they'll tell you how to learn more. It may be because that these things are they're aquatic creatures, that it's hard for you to get a sense, like you're used to tuning into things basically through the air, right? You're a creature who breathes air, you're above, you live on the land. Because these things are water dwellers and beneath the surface, it's really hard to tell if they're not, when you're standing on the shore, there's nothing immediately near you that's threatening, but if there's things deeper in that water, you would not be able to tell until you were swimming through it.
You mean deeper, like further into the center of the river, or like just below the surface?
Like anything, you feel like this area, from your estimation, is safe, but looking out across the river, you
Oh.
realize that anything that's, below like a certain depth, you won't be able to tell until you're there, until you're out there. So if if you were again at the front of the group, you might be able to like notice before something happened, if they were going to threaten you in some way. But that might happen kind of quickly. So I guess in summation, Muirin's assessment is like, even with my danger sense, crossing this river is risky because they can move fast. And by the time I knew that they were coming, I might be able to react, but other people might not be able to.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you don't know if they're even around. But that's if they are there, that's how you feel.
Yeah. So I can tell them that like with this one specific area would be okay to head towards and possibly like wait. But beyond that, it's hard to say what's safe and what's not safe.
I think maybe we wait, and then we could creep along the cliff the way we came, and do our best to watch to see if the River King is asleep.
So avoid the riskiness of the deep water, and just give the River King enough time to go to bed if that's what he does, and then sneak by the main entrance.
What do you think? This plan.
I mean, I think that there's the potential for danger, but if you can manage it, Topias, I think it'll be the best way for us to get back to the wagon and get clear of this land.
Well, I certainly can't swim. I mean, he could have been helped across the river by you guys, but he can manage the walking on the ledge.
All right, yeah, let's go across the ledge.
All right,
I'm okay with that plan.
Muirin's cool with it.
Yep. We'll
right.
sort of try to creep by, right? When it's enough time has passed.
Enough time has passed.
Maybe you go first, and then we'll follow behind or catch up to you. And we need to tie a rope around Topias. He's famous for mishaps happening in vicinity to cliffs and waterfalls.
Right. So this roll would not necessarily be, so going cautiously, having done this before, even though he's injured, he's not going to have to roll to like keep his footing, but you are going to basically have to make a roll to go as unnoticed as possible. And once again, that roll does fall on Topias.
Yeah, I can conjure a fog if you think it would be helpful, but with my luck, I'm afraid that it might bring more attention than it would hide.
Especially if it was bright.
Well, yes, especially if it was bright.
Your magic seems very useful, but I don't know if I trust it quite yet.
Neither do I.
Okay, let's roll. Then you guys are gonna, everybody kind of like readjusts. Enough time's gone by, and you head out carefully and quietly across this ledge. Water's pouring down. The stars are out. The nice thing is that the sound of that water is obscuring any sound you might make. So it's not about anything hearing you go splishy splash. It's about just your presence and how that might be noticed. So I'll have Jan. You can roll for Tapias.
Okay.
One of his traits is dependable, and so you can depend on him to do his best to stay quiet, etc. So he gets +1 to this roll.
Okay.
Is this his first roll of the day?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's give him that. Let's give him +2.
All right. I have what do you call bonds with him too.
Yep.
I don't know if those could come into play. I would have to be able to help him, or
So if you help him, if you're right there with him helping him, he gets a +1 just for your help. So that brings him up to a +3. And then if you make any roll to assist, defend, or avenge a person with whom you have a bond, I added avenge in there because of that time that, was it Taimi who ran back?
right?
Somebody was trying to avenge somebody, and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So you could also spend a bond to give him, so he'd have +4 for that roll.
Yeah. It seems like it would be good. I mean, I wonder if I could just have him put his arm over my shoulder and just try to keep him totally steady the whole time.
Okay.
I'm remembering also that we're carrying all these furs.
Yeah.
Does that interfere with your helping somebody if you get a -1?
Yeah. You have if you're burdened, then you have a -1 to this roll. Yeah. So that would take you back because so that would take you down to
all right, but
+3.
So I could use a bond to get it up to +4 and then down to +3.
Yep.
Wow.
Is that +3 though, or not +2?
I mean, let's just do it this way. You just hand off your furs to one of your companions who
Oh, there you go.
still are burdened, but you don't have to suffer that minus. Yeah. So then you'd have a +4.
Okay, but is it 4? It's +1 for him, +1 for helping him, and +1 for a bond.
And +1 for the first roll of the day.
Oh yeah. First roll of the day.
First roll of the day.
Everybody's first roll.
All right, we got a 9 + 4.
Okay, great.
Nice.
Maiviki assists him across the mouth of that cave. I think as you cross the mouth, maybe you hear somewhere through the sound of the crashing water, and then you make your way across. And then under a deep night sky, you guys are now going to try to make your way, unless there's something else you want to do here, make your way back to where you left the cart. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is a journey with one leg to get you back there. And so that is set out. And we'll have Muirin roll for this. I assume Muirin's on point again because of their newfound attunement to the natural world. And there's no modifier for this roll. This is, it's safety of the region, but you're in a perilous area, so it's no modifier. Plus, so it's just 2d6 straight up.
Okay. I got a 5.
Yeah, let's go.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to actually, so as you recall, the first time you made this crossing, things get quite wet, right? And slippery. Who has the lowest luck among the three of you?
Mine's 11 right now.
I'm at 10.
I'm much higher.
Oh yeah? Okay, so Muirin, there's a point where you're so sodden, like everything, you're just completely soaked. And there's so you can actually see the shore, the final shore, right? So you're making your way along these slippery ledges. Paiviki's helping Tapias. Everybody's drenched in water. Your backpack, Muirin, is like waterlogged. And there's there's a sudden fluctuation in the water flow, and like an enormous downpour of water sort of strikes you unexpectedly, and you have perfect balance, but there's a moment where you're forced away from the wall of rock that you've been sort of sticking close to, and your backpack is pulled off your shoulder, and the furs are attached there too, so it's like pulled off your shoulder, and this sudden force is going to sort of tear the backpack off of you, basically. So your choice is to either try to hold on to it or let it go. If you try to hold on to it, you'll have to, to roll to. You can, if you let it go, no problem. It's just gone, and it gets carried down into the darkness and the water. And we'd have to figure out randomly what treasure was in it.
I want to try to hold on to it.
Okay. So you're gonna make a saving throw.
Yeah, with my reflexes.
You do have good reflexes, right?
Yeah.
Dexterity of 16. All right, so make a saving throw at +2.
All right. It was my backpack that I'm about to drop?
Yes.
I have an 8.
You got an 8 +2. Or is that with the +2?
Sorry, yeah, 6 + 2.
Okay. So you're like, you get pushed back. Annika steps forward and tries to steady you. Your backpack sort of slings off of your body and dumps upside down, and some stuff does fall out of it. And then you manage to, like, Annika hauls you back up and you pull it back on, and make your way over to the shore. Do you have everything that's written down in your backpack written down somewhere?
Yeah, other than if I was carrying treasure, or I was just carrying furs, right? From that new patch.
Yes, and so I would assume that the rest of the loot had been evenly split between you guys, but if you want to kind of retroactively say it was divided up some other way, that's fine. But it might be like a luck roll to see if there was none in Weiren's pack.
Yeah, I think we said it was like split up. We just didn't decide it. We probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how would you want to, would you say it was even, mostly even split?
The big question is, who would be carrying the gold box that has the sash inside of it? It's pretty heavy. I mean, it's gold box, so.
I would think it would be Paiviki then if it's. I think we would want her strength.
Paiviki would want to carry it.
Okay, well, if Paiviki express that desire, then.
Right.
Covetous of pretty things.
Yeah. So like all that's in my backpack would be like candles.
Okay. Yeah, so how many things, going down the list, how many things are in your backpack right now?
Would rope have been tied? Rope would have been tied to Topias, right? So I'm not carrying that.
Yep.
And I probably put my furs in my bag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things.
You got 8 things?
Yeah.
I want you to number those 1 through 8 for me. Just down the list. You don't have to actually number them, but 1 through 8.
Yeah, I'll just go down the list.
And then the
8,
carryover numbers on my end are the treasure that you're carrying. Okay. And you're gonna roll. You're gonna roll a d12. Let's see. There's 8. You're gonna roll a d12 6 times, and just make a note of those numbers that you roll.
Oh,
And just report the numbers.
brutal.
Sure. 7. 7?
Doubles are you roll. That's good because if you re-roll the same number, I'm not gonna. It's the same thing, so you just lose the one thing. Okay.
Okay. 7,
7.
7, 1.
Okay.
And then 12, 6, 2. Okay, so mostly stuff in my backpack.
Yep. So
So I
whatever.
lose the candles. My water.
Oh no.
Oh, and my poison. But I had 2
Ooh.
things of that poison, so I just lost it twice.
And
6.
that's
My book. Okay.
your book.
my-
What book?
Ancient Venati book.
Oh yeah, it's gone. Claimed by the river.
Wait, I'm counting wrong.
Number
Wait.
1, number 2.
Oh, rations count, right?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so then I have 9 things in my bag.
So number 1, number 2, number 6, and number 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right, so I did keep my water skin. That's
Was rations one of the things that got hit?
yes.
How many rations? How many uses of rations did you have?
5.
Roll a d6 to see how many of them got.
Oh, okay. Sure.
It's not the whole.
1.
Okay.
I
So when you
lost-
get back to the shore and you sort of dump your backpack out to see and sort of go through it to see what's missing, that's what you discover. And the only piece of treasure that's gone is a small copper miniature of a human figure.
Oh no, that's my favorite.
the NN or not?
Yes, this
Just
was
a
an
figure.
end figure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And then the rest of the trip back to the cart through the darkness is soggy but peaceful. After you get away from it's a relief to finally get away from the roar of the waterfall and have the the sound of like crickets sort of takes over after a certain point.
Do we come across that pit creature?
I mean, if you're trying to go back the same way you came in the dark, it's kind of if you wanted to, you could try to aim for that.
If we could go by it, I would like to see whether in the day it's been already torn apart by scavengers. I didn't butcher it or look for anything useful or memorable like a trophy or something from it because we were like, I didn't want a mission drift. But now I have the time, so maybe tomorrow. Let's just do like a flyby to see if it's still there, and then tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
I want to go do that.
I think to find it in the dark, you'll have to make a roll to find it. You want to take that chance?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Okay, so maybe when it's light out, you'll come back.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, unless there's anything else anybody wanted to do before you get back to the cart, you get back and you are happy to discover that the cart is intact. Everything is in it, and
Itzy
is asleep and doesn't even notice your arrival.
Oh, sweet Itzy.
Itzy's just like, you had, she was not tethered to the cart, but she was tied to a tree, and she's just kind of like lied down and snoozing when you get back quietly.
Right.
Yeah, so you made it back to the cart.
Let's put these furs, my fur-lined cape. I don't know. Let's turn part of the cart into like a bed for Topias.
Ooh, nice.
Oh yeah, we've got 12 bundles of furs. So
Yeah, it's like a fancy limousine, a for lunch.
Is there space in the cart for 12 weight worth of, or yeah, 12 weight?
Oh
worth
yeah.
Of,
Let me open up the kitty. Enhance. Yes. I mean, yeah. We'll have to move some stuff around, but I think we can make it work. If push comes to shove, we can toss something. Yeah, we have currently 11 spaces free in the kitty.
Mhm.
So even if that means that one of us is overweight, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think you covered somebody who can carry some extra stuff.
Yeah, I can carry stuff now that I have such space in my backpack.
What are the rules for like the cart being overweight?
It would
does that
just
mean?
get, I mean, we would just make those up. Those would be house rules that we would come up with. So it would become hard, you know, it would just become, you know, the wheels would be digging into the dirt more and it would just become more of a struggle for Italy and everybody else.
I guess what aspect of the journey do you think that would affect the most? Like, is that just like, would that affect the set out roll?
It would affect, so just, it would be like a fictional thing that would come into play. Like it would slow you down for one thing, right?
Yeah.
You'd be slower. And then with the cart as it is, you're already slow, so you'd be even slower. And then if there was any kind of mishap or something, then I would take the fact that the cart was overburdened into account.
Yeah. Roger.
So is our spot currently, I think we chose it as a place that's a ways and up the hill from the river, that we felt like we weren't in immediate danger from the River King as far as we knew.
Yep, right.
Do we want to try to camp here?
Maybe a little further up, yeah. That would be, you know, it's 10 of, we want to wrap up at on the half hour, right?
Yeah, that would be great.
We're about 10 minutes ahead of that right now, so this would be a great time to camp if you guys wanted to have another night of camping right now.
We're
definitely.
tired.
Yeah.
She didn't sleep.
Yeah, I think we're all exhausted from crazy battles and
So
I have so much stat damage.
Oh god, that's right. And it must just smell really good to be back in the woods, right? Like just that alone, after being in this cold stone cave.
Yeah, what are your lowered stats at?
Well, my wisdom's at 3. Isn't no, or did I get a wisdom?
I think it's 4 on the sheet. It's
Yeah, I need to. Okay, that's why I need to. Boop 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 boop. That's why it upgraded.
I mean, I would imagine a 4 wisdom would mean that you were like just totally disoriented and freaked out. And
yeah, 4 wisdom, 12 strength, 7 constitution.
Yeah.
Oh, so when you are we do we have to roll for like a good, everyone gets a good night's sleep before bumping that up?
Yes. So everybody has to mark rations first of all. So you have to that's a total of 5. So
I can mark off 1.
Mark 1 for me, and then both Annika and Topias have rations to spare.
Okay.
So I'm marking theirs off right now. Got it.
Can Kaiviki feed herself?
That's a good question. Yes, I can. Yeah, I think I was feeding. I know. Yeah, I think I have food. Let's mark a couple off. Okay.
So everybody's marked off their food?
We need to invest in some bedrolls, y'all.
Well, I think changed that. One thing that did happen, did change, I don't know if this was applied last time, is under the make camp move. If you have a campfire, you do get to take a +1 to pass the night. The trade-off being that your location will be noticed by interested parties. So that's the trade-off for the camp.
Right. No, I was thinking the bedroll says you get +1 to your recovery.
Oh, right. Yes, of course, yes.
But none of us have bedrolls that I know of. But
No.
we should. We should
Right.
sleep. Get good sleep.
Could a fur count if it's comfy enough?
Ooh, hey. Yeah, you've got these bundles of furs that would totally, yes, if you make yourself a little, well, yeah, because they're furs, they would wick away the water.
Do we want to get these dirty? You know what? Taimi's not that type of person. What am I saying? I'm a grubby hunter. I'm covered in dirt all the time.
Yeah.
I guess it depends if
Something's
you wanted
worth-
to sell it, right? Or
Yeah.
Sleeping in them will not diminish their value. They can be clean.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. That's a great suggestion. Yeah, so everybody, and there's tons of them, so everybody's just like living in luxury. Great. And when you pass the night with a bedroll, you heal 1 additional ability point in the morning. Okay, so let's do it. So no campfire, is that right? Or yes, campfire?
I would say no, but what do you guys think? Seems risky.
I agree now.
All right.
okay.
Sleeping stealthily. Great. Then whose turn is it to roll the dice here? For passing.
I haven't rolled yet.
Do it. And
This will be my first roll of the day.
Yes.
No, it doesn't count. It doesn't
count because it's not really Taimi making.
Yeah. So is it? You said it's
here. It's dangerous. It's not perilous. So you get +1 for that. Yeah. So it's just a 2d6 +1.
Ooh, 12.
Okay. Everyone gets restful sleep. Those who ate and drank the night before get both benefits from the list below. So everybody heals 1 plus their con modifier, but with these fancy furs you're sleeping on, you heal you get another point, but that point can only heal an ability point. You can't heal a hit point. Yeah, so I guess that means that Taimi can heal a total of 2 points.
Put those both into con.
He's
There.
So Pius is all healed up. He's just in the fiction. He's just in a tough physical state. He can't use his arm. And yeah, so anybody else that needs to heal up can do that.
Iviki is fine. She's just a little bit shaken. Her wisdom's down a bit, but who wouldn't be shaken?
Right after all that stuff. Well, you got in and out successfully. Excellent. All right, and then we're going to wrap up.
Sorry, so you can only heal 1 ability score.
If you have more than one, so in your case, with your Constitution, which is +1, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So you can heal a total of 3 points because of the furs, right? You can always heal 1. You get your Constitution modifier if that applies. So you can heal a total of 3 points, and you can spend those however you want. You can heal multiple different abilities.
Okay.
Okay. You didn't lose any hit points, right? You didn't get scratched.
Me, I did. So I just healed 2 hit points and then 1 wisdom ability point.
Okay, great.
And I think that. Although, do you know what my max HP is?
I don't think I've updated my thing since
Okay, I'll have to look that up later.
level now.
Donna, I'm stealing your bonds thing from your sheet.
Do it.
It's really good.
According
It
to
was-
the record, Donna, your HP is 10.
Okay.
According to the character record on Google Drive.
Oh, the one that I just updated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so that's all I'm looking at. The
Okay.
only other record I have is from when you started out when you had 6 hit points.
Okay.
Way back then.
I'll keep track.
Yeah, that would be good. We could actually go to the tape and go back and
Oh, I know.
yeah, you could wade through
The
those hours
record.
of video to try to figure out what you rolled when you increased your hit points last time. I mean, you have only increased your hit points once, right? Like when you leveled up to level 3.
Yeah. I know. No, I have it written down somewhere. It's just in a different spot.
Okay.
Yep. We're good.
All right, wrap up.
Yeah.
Alignment goal, no, right? Didn't come into play. Unless somebody's going to point something out to me that I'm thinking about doing away with that entirely because it's come up so little. Traits, memorable way.
Mm.
Taimi was curious to see what was behind the stone slab.
For sure. Definitely. I feel like Miriam was focused when Danger Sense kicked in. Like, hold up,
Mhm.
I'm going to go deal with that.
Cool.
I think Jan, just the moment where you said Paiviki wants that sash.
Oh yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
enough for
Okay.
confidence there. Okay, so you guys get those, and then fighters solve a problem with physical prowess.
Nope.
None of that. Thief solve a problem with stealth or trickery.
Yeah. I mean, you detected the creatures behind us and gave us warning, and we were able to scare them off.
It was. Yeah. It was quiet and.
Yeah, okay, take an XP for that. Magic
What's
Meteor, solve a problem with magic, yes.
okay?
Did you make an exciting discovery?
The statues.
Also, what happened when you threw that body into the pit?
Oh yeah,
That
that
was
was super
cool.
exciting.
Exciting.
That was very cool.
Hey, Vicky, come look at this. Did you overcome a difficult obstacle? I would say getting to piece out and back across the waterfall with counts, so everybody gets a point for that. Did you acquire some memorable booty? Did you acquire all this booty? Did we get XP for that last time we did, right?
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
last time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nothing, no new booty. Okay, great.
Nice. I'm thinking about losing my selfish trait. Viviki has not been acting particularly selfish, but I have to think of if she would take something else in its place or if she would just lose it and suddenly become neutral.
Right. I mean, she has not behaved in a very. You're chaotic right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Paiviki's been kind of a rock, right? Like
Yeah.
consistent,
Fairly sensible for a chaotic character.
right? Restrict, like wanting to do the smart thing.
Yeah. But I could look to see if there's any other characteristics that she has been showing, but I don't know.
Yeah, you don't have to do that right this moment, but
Yeah.
it might be worth checking out before next time.
But I am thinking about losing selfish. If you guys agree.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't see Paiviki as selfish.
All right.
you know, the moments that you are covetous, I don't think it's the same thing.
No, it's a little different.
It's
Different enough.
aggressive. You know, you have been boastful in the past,
Oh, boastful is good.
and that's kind of
Oh, you totally have.
That's a
You
fun-
like you hyped up your own legend to that Colkeen leader.
I could try taking that.
and that could be really fun too, right? Like, but you've been doing that even without, like, when you were talking to the Venati, you were saying, and then I did this thing, and
Yeah.
yeah, so that's considered a vice. That could be a fun one.
Yeah, I'll try that one.
Okay.
For a while anyway.
Yeah.
See if she gets boastful. Bold, boastful, and covetous. What a nice combo for a freebooter.
It is. It's great. Bold has really served you well.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Your special spear maneuver.
Well, it's nice when I have a question whether I should do something dumb. I'm like, yeah, probably should.
All right, great.
Can we take like maybe 5 minutes and talk about what we want to do next,
Sure.
so that we can kind of hit the ground running?
Oh yeah.
I've actually added that to the wrap-up move in my rewrite. I've said, take a moment to talk about what you're going to do next, so that the DM.
Oh, I love it. I love doing it. So I mean, you said to Topias Paiviki that like we're gonna go home, and I think like any potential of us going back to Saltvallen is out the window then. I think that we could have like rationalized like going back and resting up and like cashing in some of this loot or whatever, you know, but I just think that Taimi would feel just too guilty to not go back to Rayuna now.
Right. Topias kind of want to get that kid back to his parents.
Yeah. I guess the question is, do we stop in the Cave of the Beast, or do we just go straight for Rayuna? What do you think, Muirin?
And I just want to point out, this may be germane to the conversation, with the cart, assuming you can actually get it up into the Highlands from your current position, which you haven't really investigated yet, given that it took you 2 days to get from Rayuna to here. Do you guys see the map? Is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
the cart basically doubles that travel time, because coming through the Highlands, it's pretty, there's no roads or anything. You have to basically go overland with it. So this would be a 4-day trip across the Highlands.
Yeah, we're going to need to stock up on rations. We explored this question to some extent, like about the cart, and there was an idea that we would swing west and find a way to basically even out. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was that tight. Even I thought it might have to be a wide sweep.
I think the main reason was that we were trying to avoid the waterfall, and we had to have a gradual ascent back up into the Highlands.
Yeah,
we couldn't go over the falls, of course, so we have to go through those woods, which we don't know what we'll find there. But I would go back to Rayuna. Paiviki is really curious to find those books that we left there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They have some magic in them. And
do we? Yeah, I'm up for going back to Rayuna. I am interested to see if we left anything at the Cave of the Beast, and whether the Pyko left anything. I doubt it, but I am curious.
I'm nervous that the beast is still there.
Yeah.
The beast is no longer under the spell, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not under a spell, but still a beast. and yeah, might be living there still.
I mean, I even think that knowledge is like really valuable. Being able to report back to Rayuna, like, hey, you just need to know that the beast is still there, or like whoever we trust with that knowledge.
Right.
Or even just us having that knowledge, so that then when later we can,
Yeah,
um,
that's true.
So given the two ways that you could, so there's a question of whether you'd want to actually investigate the cave, or just do like a scouting mission to see, to get the lay of the land, right? So maybe Taimi would, like, if you guys move roughly across the middle of the highlands, and then on one of these days when you camped, Taimi and whoever else can make a scouting expedition, just kind of check it out cursorily, do you know what I mean? As opposed to like take the cart and everybody there. There'd be a couple different ways to approach it. The big one being, yeah, do you want to re-explore it, or do you just want to sort of assess what might be there?
Right. Do we want to go in and see if the sorcerer's corpse is where we left it, or has it walked away?
oof. I think, and I just think for the sake of Topias, that I wouldn't want to like have it be like a full-blown mission.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to at least drop him off first, and ascertain. Yeah. So that's my vote. My vote is to just do like a cursory like flyby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from Rayuna, without the cart and you're just on foot, it's only half a day to the cave. So if you got back to the village and did all that and checked in and everything's okay, then if you wanted to go back, it would only be a half day's journey from the village on foot.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then like, I guess also to just like bring something up maybe out of fiction, like, when we go back to Rayuna, are we going to try to fuck up the Corkine?
These are the conversations you're totally having also, whenever you start pushing that cart up the hill, this is totally what you guys are talking about. I don't think that's out of character at all, right? Like, it's probably like part of the conversation.
No, I guess you're right. I guess just like the way that I'm approaching it just as a player right now, I just kind of want to like, get my head in the game. Like, is that what we are interested in as like 3 players?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the experience at Saltwald sort of gave us more courage, right? That we could.
That you could totally take.
I mean, we don't have goats, but.
Yeah.
And I think John raises a really important point, which is your characters might want to do one thing, but what's interesting and sounds fun to you guys, right? Like, is like insurrection against the oppressive colonial force a thing that sounds like, yeah, let's go, like right now, and it doesn't have to be the whole course of the campaign for sure, but like what's, does more dungeon exploration, are there parts of the world you want to see?
Yeah.
Is that the kind of most interesting thing right now, is like dealing with the presence of these people?
I mean, I think Don is right. I think that in fiction, our confidence has been bolstered by the fact that we were able to just dispatch for all intents and purposes, many more, like 2 to 3 times as many Colkeen as there are in Rayuna. Granted, we had the help of the goat riders, but like, they are not outclassed. We're just going to have to be very careful with like our equipment and tipping our hand. Yeah. I don't know. It's different because with Saltwallen, it like, John Chidurgeon, the player, knew that like we are only delaying. Unfortunately, we're only delaying the inevitable. Like, eventually, they're going to get word that some shit's going down in Saltwallen, and like bad times are going to come down on them. And I know the same thing's going to happen to Rayuna. Like eventually, if we get rid of the 2 word keepers, 2 to 3 word keepers, and we Elmeri, we get rid of Elmeri, it's eventually going to get back to the capital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's partly a matter of if we're in it for the long haul of like joining forces with the other insurrectionist towns and forming a opposition to the Corkine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems kind of fun to me, like to do that, you know, bolstered by any sort of stuff that we're learning and allies that we're making along the way. But partly because I also just dread having to deal with El Mary as a he's gonna like want to like get into all of our business and take a cut of whatever we found and put us in jail and stuff. And
Oh no, no way, not happening.
who knows why? He doesn't need a reason. He's a mean guy.
Oh, I can't wait for him to get his. I can't wait.
So, but if we just waltz right into town with a cart loaded with all kinds of wealth, I think that we're going to be asking for trouble. We probably would want to, like, you know, make a hideout in the woods or something.
Ooh, a hideout.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be rad.
Sneak in at nighttime and, or I don't know what.
Yeah, well, you know, get the people that we trust to come out to our hideout, ascertain the situation, then form a plan, and just deal with the Colquhoun in Rayuna like we dealt with them in Saltwall. Just rush them, take them unawares.
Yeah, I'll pretend to be a word keeper again.
Yeah, totally.
So then maybe your path would be more like that, to make a hideout?
Yeah, I think so.
Check out the cave. You said like a cursory check-in on the cave. Is that right?
Just to assess.
Just to assess, and then maybe go to make a hideout in the Motherwood.
Yeah, go into town and tell people that we trust what happened and and get our stuff that we left there, those books. So you can take all that, Jason, and come up with lots of things to get in our way.
Well, you know, it's interesting because all I do is there's a lot of dice rolling to figure out what happens. And like, whenever you return to a place, I roll dice to figure out what happened while you were gone. I don't create things specific. So like, if this is your plan, then I'm going to prepare stuff that'll be, but it's all kind of emerging from your choices and all the other things that are in play right now, which was totally interesting because do you remember how you rolled the River King randomly?
Yeah.
Like you guys rolled up the River King randomly as a random encounter, and then I had to figure out what that meant. And so all that dungeon you just went into came out of that random roll. And that's what's great for me and fun for me is that I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know what you guys are going to get into. So yeah, I'm curious. Secret hideout. Excellent. A hut on
yeah, it's just a hut on 2 sticks.
A still hut.
Do you that was my shout out from Buckaroo Bonsai for you, Jason.
Yeah, thank you. Best film of all time.
I know. Still waiting for the sequel.
You know, he lives in Vermont, W.D. Richter.
No way.
Yes, I've been wanting to like track him down, and yeah, he's up here. And the writer went to Dartmouth, so Vermont has a strong connection to Buckaroo. All right, great. I forget where that's drawn in the movie though. Where does that show up?
In the Yoyodyne facility, there's a door that says it's top secret. Do not enter. It's like super misspelled, right. And whoever that general guy is, he goes in.
That's right. That's awesome.
Looking for his truncheon bomber.
Donna, have you seen Buckaroo Banzai?
I think I've seen it at a movie night or something.
Right. There'll become a day where I'll show it to my kids, and they'll be like, "Why are you showing it?" Guys, you gotta watch this movie.
Yeah.
Alec showed it to me. He's like, "Hey, I got this." You know, back when people were getting DVDs delivered for Netflix, yes. He was like, "You know, Jason loves this movie. He says it's the best movie of all time, so I got it for us to watch." And I was like, so into it, like so unbelievably into it, and he was just like, "No."
I
just
knew
is
that
not
Alec
having
would,
it.
Alec would not enjoy that movie. Oh my god. So good. Oh, okay. Thanks for taking me back there, John, with your scrawl. All right. We good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.